Over the last 6 months, I've had what you would call a few penny drop moments. For years, believe it or not, I felt frustrated. I felt like I should be further ahead than what I was. I felt like for the amount of effort and the amount of work that I was putting in, my results, my speed, my physique, everything all at once just didn't reflect it. And I felt like I actually deserved more. Fast forward the clock to now, I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm very at peace with that, and I'm enjoying the process more than ever. But before we get into that today, make sure you've hit subscribe to the channel. And for anyone that's new around here, my name's Christian Hill. I'm the founder of Ready for Anything, a coaching brand for execs, entrepreneurs and high performers. And I'm currently in the process of training for a 250 marathon in Vienna on the 19th of April, whilst travelling the world, working remotely, pushing my life, pushing my business and documenting the journey along the way. So back in 2023, I took 6 months away from alcohol. Just after my 30th birthday, I was just a little bit scunnered with boozing. I drank more in the space of 1 month than I drank in the last 6 months. And I was long far from the days where I was a bit of a weekend warrior, but I just knew it was something that was on the cards. And I'd never actually wanted to do it because up until that point, I'd taken breaks, but it was never super intentional. It was just like I'd taken like 6 weeks here, 8 weeks there if I was focused on other things. But for the first time ever, it just felt right to commit to this. And I ended up actually doing 7 months because when I was going to have my first drink, I'd done High Rocks World Champs and I was going to go to the after party and I actually planned it in. And then I got sick. I got really, really sick and it was not nice and ended up rolling over another month. So I done 7 months in total. The first few months were very, very easy. But when it started to get hard was when it started to fizzle away, when I didn't want to do it as much. And I found myself having this sort of need and like compulsive behaviour to like need a beer. Like, when we actually podiumed in Italy and we qualified for World Champs that night, we went out and celebrated and I was buzzing. I didn't want to get pissed up, but I wanted to drink a beer. And unbeknown to me, I still had a lot of areas I had to work on, and it turned into a discipline challenge more than anything. It wasn't for the health factor for me, it was actually, I unknowingly entered this season of no's that I'd never entered before. And what this done for me is obviously it made me feel better, improved my productivity, my energy, all that good stuff, right? My shape and my relationship with food after that point has just continually improved because I realised that I actually had the power to say no to things that I wanted to say yes to. And it was just something that I hadn't actually been working before, and it was honestly so transformative, that's the word right there. And the reason why this is really applicable right now is that at the time of recording this, it's the 29th of January, so a lot of people are coming up to the end of the dry January. They've maybe taken a stab at it, they've maybe done the full thing. 4 weeks isn't enough to really reap the rewards, in my opinion. Obviously, it depends why you're doing it. If you're smashing boozing 4 or 5 days a week, then you're probably going to feel the difference. But if you're like me and you were more of a social drinker, it takes a while to really actually get to the point where like you really reap the rewards from it psychologically and physiologically. You need to do like at least 6 months, because in that time, what you want from it is going to change and evolve over time, and that certainly happened for me as well. And it just had such an effect on other parts of my life that I didn't think it was going to have a massive effect on, like mostly my nutrition. So I've actually got this like sort of internal dialogue that I've now got more control than I've ever had. I was someone that had a super sweet tooth, and that kind of brings me on to my second point as well. It kind of ties into this. I don't really eat a lot of processed foods anymore. Like, I'm super grateful to be in a position where like myself and Ailey can travel all over the world, work remotely. But one thing that I've found, certainly coming to countries like Indonesia, Southeast Asia, there's obviously things like Circle K, M-Marts, 7-Elevens when you're in other parts of Asia that's got a lot of processed foods. But apart from that, genuinely speaking, it's mostly whole foods. It's mostly from the sea, from the trees. If you go into these supermarkets, you see like some awful processed foods, but for us from the West, when I'm here, it doesn't appeal to me whatsoever. It's so in your face in the West all the time, like wherever you go, like branding, junk food, like takeaway, like Subway, McDonald's. You go into a petrol station, it's just like chocolate bars and everything. You don't realise like how much this is actually impacting you subconsciously. And as a result of spending so much time away from the West in different parts and regions of the world that don't have that same prevalence there, it is actually like rewired my brain into being like, I don't need that. Which, as a result of not eating it as much, my cravings and my need for sugar, and I used to say that I always had a sweet tooth, like I enjoy sweet things, but like I don't have that same need anymore. And it's because I'm eating a good diet of anti-inflammatory foods. So a lot of people aren't actually aware of how artificial their diet is. Now, I just had a Coke Zero right there. I still have artificial sweeteners. I still have synthetic proteins. Like if I have a protein shake, there's a really good protein place down here. But they're just nowhere near as prevalent as what they were in my diet prior to going on my travels. And that's probably been since like 2023, because I've done a lot of traveling since then. I'm probably sitting, I don't know, someone want to put in the comments, 10-11% body fat. I sit like this most of the year. It's easy. Like, my diet's good, my head's focused, I've got more discipline I've ever had, and it's came from these things. So if you can minimize processed foods in your diet, yes, it's going to help your health. When you reduce processed food, artificial sweeteners, synthetic proteins, whatever, you don't want it as much. You just don't want it as much. You're just like, I don't want that as much, because these are chemically engineered for your brain to be like, need. Stop filling your cupboards with junk. Stop putting things in plain sight. It's hard. We have created, in the Western world, we have engineered a society where this stuff is in your face all the time. So the more you can manage this, the better a spot that you're going to be in as well, from like just overall health, longevity, and obviously the way that you sit, your condition, your physique. And it's been revolutionary for me. I can't speak properly right now. Revolutionary. I had to bring my camera in there because it's that hot outside. I was watching the battery come down way faster than it should be coming down, and this is actually quite applicable to how I want to round things off in this video. The biggest game changer for me was acknowledging my nervous system for what it is and the impact my goals, lifestyle, and what I was doing professionally was having on that. So when I first ever heard this term being used in like real life, I was aware of what a central nervous system was and a peripheral nervous system. For those of you who don't know, it's like your spinal cord that goes from your brain all the way down your body, and then your peripheral nervous system is like what goes all the way out. It's all like your receptors that allow you to feel, make movement and stuff. It's essentially the wiring of your body. So I was very aware of what that was from like a physiological standpoint, but very, very misinformed of the impact of emotional trauma on the body as well. So as someone that's a highly driven business owner, that's a coach, and is also someone that's got huge athletic goals, there's an exchange of energy when you do anything. So like, if I go on 5 client calls in one day, spend an hour talking to clients on WhatsApp, turn up and make a video like this, that's a very, very high delivery day that takes a lot from me. Now on top of that, if I also run twice, spend time in the sunshine, stare at a screen all day, I'm probably going to get to the end of the day and feel very, very mentally and emotionally zapped. And I can just sit there and be like, oh, it's because I've had a big day. For years, I really did not acknowledge the emotional and mental effect of running a very, very busy life. And I honestly believe that I convinced myself that I was different, that people were athletically superior to me, that people had better ability, that I wasn't as good as things. And that is true to some extent. Everyone's different. Some folk are more gifted at certain things and take to it. If you're not managing and regulating your nervous system in a way that allows you to recover well, sleep well, feel good, and you always feel like you're a pressure cooker that's going to burst, you won't progress. And for me, what's been just game changing is really learning to actually acknowledge that for what it is. And I might be telling you this right now and it might just be going straight over your head, or this might just be like game changing for you. You're like, I've never thought about it like that. People are very disconnected about how powerful our minds and bodies actually are. And if you abuse that, and if you're just turbulent with it, you will get to the point that you are feeling like you're fitting a square peg into a circle hole. You'll be like, you feel like you're like an unstoppable force against an immovable object. I felt that for years. I seen good progress, I seen good change, but there was always this like, I felt there was a force holding me back. The force that was holding me back was me. It was me. I didn't have the boundaries that I have now, and it's still a work in progress, by the way, every single day. But I don't take calls on a Wednesday. If I have to take one, I will. I only take calls 4 days a week. I take 1 full day off of coaching. I make sure that I plan and organise creative work on certain days. Like, I was someone that was just firing from my hip. And then on top of that, I was doing everything that I was doing in my life. Like, I was living my life socially. Like, me and Ailey, like our relationship, just doing relationship things, just living our life. And on top of that, I was just stacking loads of stuff. Like, done multiple Ironman, done the Keltman triathlon, qualified for world champs. And for High Rocks, went through a huge training block for that, and all the rest, everything else I've been doing. Like, I've been training like a Trojan for years. And the biggest game changer for me is like really starting to acknowledge the impact that doing something what it actually has, because a lot of people are they're ignorant to this. They're very one-dimensional. They want their results to be a lot simpler. Why? It's just calories. It's just training. It's just this. It's a lot deeper than this. Now, I'm not trying to overcomplicate this process, but let's be honest. Like, if you're someone that is on your phone 24/7, you're overstimulated. You never get a break. You've got a high-pressure job. You've got responsibilities. You're maybe even a parent. Like, whatever, right? You're just frazzling yourself all the time. Then you're like, I just need more training. I just need more volume. And you're not actually looking at your life and how you feel and how you regulate yourself, and you're not acknowledging your emotions and the cause and effect that doing something and not doing something does. Like, we work with so many different people from different backgrounds. I work with a client right now that works in the funeral industry. I've worked with someone else that worked in the funeral industry. Like, that is an insane job for like emotional trauma. And like, when I spoke to them about this, they were like, yeah, I've never really thought about it like that. To me or anyone else that doesn't work in that space, like, we would be like, obviously you're dealing with death, but when you make that your job, it becomes your new normal. I've got a client that works in the hospital that's worked in like the emergency, emergency section, where basically things are going mad in those wards, right? Like the people that are coming through, the things that you're dealing with. When you're exposed to these things, there is small letter T trauma that is left in your body. And if you're also doing a lot of things that you're obviously, when you train and you push yourself, you're creating physical control trauma. Now, you might spill it over the ledge slightly, and if you're not actually learning how to manage and regulate your emotions and better understand that, and then also double that down with beliefs that you have from growing up, your relationship with food, like your relationship with self-image, your relationship with vices, alcohol, drugs, different things, it's no wonder people feel like they're up and down like a firework. Like, they set off like a firework, their emotions are like a yo-yo with their work. And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing all the thing. Like, I'm doing my steps and I'm doing my training. It's like you're making this stuff so one-dimensional, and you're not actually looking a layer deeper and just acknowledging it for what isn't. And by the way, like, I wasn't being that surface level with it, but I was just ignoring huge red flags. Like, I wanted it to be, it's because we're being lazy. Like, and people are like, I'm not lazy, I'm doing all this work, I'm doing all this stuff. Like, learning new skills and understanding yourself better is an effort. It's a hard thing to do. Hence why a lot of people try and just turbulently push through, doing what they've always done, trying to make it way more simple than it like needs to, than it actually is. And I'm all about simplifying things, but I mean like silly simple. Like man, that's the stuff that got you from A to B. Like, you're not there anymore. Why are you still talking about nutrition, talking about recovery in this infant manner, yet you're following a program that's got you training 8+ hours a week to achieve something, right? Like, obviously it's different from person to person, but like, you can't scale up one area but then keep everything else scaled down and wonder why you're not getting the results that you want across body, energy, physique, performance. Like, you cannot be surprised by that. Like, you have to make sure that this is tailored to your lifestyle, your needs, your psychological beliefs, the things that you have dealt with, the things that you see about yourself, the things that you're coming up against, because everyone's so varied, so wildly different. So it's so important to recognize this. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you took a lot away from it, and make sure that you've hit subscribe to the channel, because I want to get 1,000 subs. This is so hard to get subs on here. Do you know, I actually found out as well, I was on ChatGPT, 500 subs on YouTube is the equivalent of 15 to 20,000 followers on Instagram. So we're doing no bad, but I want more. I want to double that. I want to get to 1,000 subs. And as always, please share your thoughts. Have any questions, pop them into the comments below. See you later. Goodbye.